Okay. All right, guys, welcome to our call tonight. I am super excited for this call. I wanted to just update you guys and let you know that I have, I think, shared this with you and encouraged you guys to focus on hitting Success Club. I would say as soon as you can, so you don't have to stress about it while you're at Summit next week, because we're all leaving and I'm leaving in a week. And then the rest of you are leaving either within a week or within the next 6 days. And then also, I wanted to encourage you guys to use Fixate as a promotional tool. It is the new cookbook by Autumn coming out, I read 6 days from now. So you can use that as a drawing for people who buy challenge packs from you, and they can be entered to win. We're going to do a size coach group as well, so make sure that you get size, and that comes out on the 20th. So it's the Monday after Summit. Unless you are in Nashville, then you get to buy it there live, as well as Fixate. You get to get that there in Nashville as well. So just a couple ideas for you guys. Let me turn my notifications off here. As we get ready to launch some awesome products. And tonight we have a special guest who last week I spoke on her call, and she actually gave a really awesome tip to them and told them to tell their customers and clients that to take pre-orders for size, that they were taking pre-orders, and to write down their names and be able to get right back with them as soon as it's out and launching. And I think you may have said more about that, but I'm trying to remember. I just know that she had said that. But anyways, moving on, I'm going to let her get going because she has some great stuff to share. We have Katie Green with us tonight. She is a 12-star diamond coach, and she just signed up in March of 2013. So just over 2 years doing this. She's a 2-star in her second business center, and she is a diamond in her third. She was a premier coach last year in 2013, which for a premier coach, you have to be a 2-star and have, last year it was 125 points. I think this year it's 135. And this year, she's an elite coach, and she's also a Success Club 10 legend. So Katie has a lot of great information. She is a rock star in this business, so I'm excited for her to share recruiting business builders with you guys. Let me unmute you, and I will let you take over. Okay.
Hey. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background. I feel like my head's not fitting in the thing quite right, but a little bit of background about me. As Lindsay said, I started in March of 2013. I was actually a lawyer before I became a Beachbody coach. And actually, let me back up just a little bit. I was an attorney before I became a mom. And I have 2 kids, and Jackson is 7 and Ella is 5. And when I had my son, I decided that, and that's my older one, that I wasn't going to work as a lawyer anymore. And the reason being was I just didn't see that lifestyle meshing well with what I envisioned for myself as a mother. And so I made the decision to stay home, and there were some financial sacrifices for sure to be able to do that, but I followed my heart and I stayed home anyways. And in doing so, you know, like I said, there were a lot of financial sacrifices. We had some credit card debt. I had, obviously I had law school debt, lots of student loans, and, you know, just the regular expenses of life were kind of stressful. Even though my husband had a pretty good job, life is just expensive, especially when you have a lot of student loans. And so it was a big sacrifice for us. And it was always in the back of my mind that I would have to go back to work as an attorney at some point. But the idea of missing soccer games, practices, all those kinds of things just weighed so heavy on my heart. It was so hard for me to imagine that. It was so hard for me to imagine my kids in after school care. Like, I get emotional just talking about it, but it was so hard for me to imagine any of that as a mom. It just didn't settle right with me. And so I didn't enter this business thinking, oh, I'm going to make full-time income and I'll never go to work. The truth is, I started working out at the gym doing body pump. And I know we don't carry that program anymore, but that's what drew me into this business, was body pump. And I wanted the home version because it was the only thing that I ever felt like, after I gained 60 pounds with both babies, changed the shape of my body. Not just like gave me weight loss, but actually gave me muscle and definition and changed my body. So I bought body pump, reluctantly got suckered into the challenge pack and tried Shakeology. It was not something I wanted to do at all. I didn't believe in shakes. I didn't think it was something that would work for me, but I, it was bundled together and discounted with free shipping at the time. So I went ahead and bought the pack. And I was a customer for a few months. And I just remember thinking, okay, well, Shakeology makes me full. Enough said. That's good for me because I'm a hungry woman. So I went for it, and I went ahead and bought the pack. Well, my coach, Amy Capola, actually said that she was looking for just 2 coaches. And of course, I fell for that hook, line, and sinker. And I was like, well, 2 coaches, I don't even know what that means. Maybe I have to go to some kind of special training somewhere. I didn't even understand that this was multi-level marketing. I had no clue what I was doing. But I thought coach sounded really cool. And I messaged her and asked her about it. And I caught on pretty quickly. I was the person that ran away from anything multi-level marketing. Pampered Chef, Mary Kay, 31. I never wanted to host the parties. I thought they were just obnoxious, and I didn't want to be that person. I used to say, get a real job. Like, seriously, ladies, like, could you just get a real job? That was my mentality. I was that girl. So I decided to do this just for the discount. She wanted me to do a getting started call, and the entire time I'm rolling my eyes, really, truly rolling my eyes. I was like, this is so stupid. Why is she calling this a business? This is not a business. This is a little hobby, a petty little hobby where you're paying your Target bill. I had no clue. I was so clueless about the business potential, but I just let her talk while I rolled my eyes, got off the phone, and kind of played around with it. To be honest with you, I'd already been sending people to her. I'd already sent her coaches and customers because I loved Shakeology and I loved body pump. So I was already sharing it. And so when I shared it, I was getting interest. And I sort of got the rush, the rush when you get a couple of bites and it's like, okay, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to move with this. I didn't understand the business potential until I became a Diamond coach. I was added it took me about 3 months to get to Diamond, and I was added to a Diamond group, just like a Facebook group for Diamond coaches where they would share income, they would share bonuses. And I had an aha moment where I was like, okay, this isn't just the Target bill. This is serious business, and I'm pretty good at it so far. So I'm going to go all in. And so I was a Diamond coach when I finally decided this was something I really wanted. One thing that I like to make clear when I do calls about recruiting, and I think it's really important because a lot of you guys have probably heard the stories of people like Lindsay Matway or Melanie Mitro or Anita Myron or, all these people who get like 50 Success Club, 60 Success Club, up to like 100 maybe. I don't even know. I can't count. I am not that girl. I just started Instagram a month ago. I think the highest SC points I've ever gotten probably was when T25 or 21 Day Fix was released. I may have maxed out at 30. My typical month in the last year has been more, 11 to 20, sometimes 15. Sometimes last month it was right at 11, just slid on down to home base. So yes, I've gotten Success Club 10 every single month, and that consistency I think is really important. But I want you to know that you can do big things in this business without being a celebrity. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to get 50 Success Club points. Don't get intimidated and discouraged by that because it can happen with consistency of getting SC5 or SC10. I know my coach, she doesn't always get SC10. She gets SC5 a lot of the time, and she's making amazing income just by being consistent. So that would be my first tip for you in recruiting too. And so I want to get a little bit more into recruiting now that you know my story. But the first thing I want to talk about is just consistency. It goes along with what I was saying. A lot of people that are watching you on your Facebook page right now, they are seeing if you're consistent. They are watching you to see, you know, they may not join your business the first 2, 3, 4, 5 months. But when you show that you are consistent, you're dedicated, and that you're serious about this, then they're more likely to buy into it. When you quit 2 or 3 months into it, they're like, she just, you know, flaked out on this. Like, it wasn't serious. You've got to show some consistency over time. You've got to show your belief and your dedication before you expect them to believe and be dedicated. Another thing that I want to talk about is I would say the most common question I get on my team from my teammates is, I sell a lot. I do a lot. I hit Success Club 5 or 10 every single month, but I don't recruit business builders. So what's the difference? What's the deal? My response to that would be, selling on the retail side is really different from recruiting. Selling on the retail side, it requires someone that, you know, they're a product of the product. They're showing everybody that these products work. They're inspiring. They're positive. They're people that you would say, I want to join their challenge group. You know, I really think that they're cool and they look great and they're inspiring. Saying, I want to join forces with this person on the business end is saying all of those things on the retail side. You have to be a believer of the products, but it's also saying, I want to become business partners with this person. I trust this person to provide income for my family. That's a different level of trust. That's a different level of, you know, you want to project someone that they would want to be business partners with, someone they would join forces and trust with their finances for their family. That's a big deal. You know, people want to see that you're credible. People want to see that you're dedicated, that you're serious, that you're competent. So you want to project. My team, I got really, really lucky. It was January, and I went on the wall and I said, I need some team speakers for my team calls. And Carl Deichler wrote me a message. And let me tell you, I'm not like a top 10, top 20 coach. And Carl Deichler wrote me and said, I'll be a team speaker for your call. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Okay. Like, I just got really lucky. It just happened to be timing of when I posted it. So he was the guest speaker on a call, and I asked him, what distinguishes the coaches that don't make it from the coaches that do, the coaches that build big, successful businesses? And I was expecting consistency, dedication, hard work. And you know what he said? And I'll always remember this. He said, swagger. And I want you to think about that. Think about what I mean by that, swagger. So as an Emerald coach, okay, I was an Emerald coach. That's, you know, I had my mom and my best friend. I didn't have this huge team. I hadn't recruited a bunch of strangers. And I was already saying on my call or on my Facebook post, my amazing team. I'm building my team and they're rocking it, you know? And it wasn't, I mean, yeah, my mom and my best friend, they were really cool, you know? My confidence may have been misplaced a little, but I believe it was that swagger that I had in the beginning with recruiting that I projected myself as a leader. I projected myself as confident in the business. And so what I cringe when I see a lot of coaches posting this, and I just want to plead to you, please don't do it, is I see a lot of coaches say, I'm really struggling with this business and it's really hard and it's not growing, but I am dedicated and committed to building it and I'm not giving up. That's not showing confidence or competence. It's showing a struggle. And it's okay to show a struggle in some areas of life, but when you're trying to build a business and you're trying to attract business builders, you need to project confidence. You need to project sort of an atmosphere of success for yourself and for your team. And as you do that, people will be attracted to your business. A lot of times I get another question from coaches, and it's, when I enroll a challenger and they do a challenge group, how do I talk them into coaching? how do I get them to coach? And you know what? I've given this a lot of thought, because most of the time when somebody comes to me to buy a program, I've already planted the seeds when it comes to coaching. I've already talked about coaching enough that they're thinking they want to coach, you know? So much of the prep work in getting someone to enroll as a coach is before they ever talk to you about a challenge pack. So much of it is in sharing the lifestyle of coaching, talking about the freedom, talking about the flexibility, the time with your kids, the income. All of those things should already be set up. You should already be discussing those things before they ever come to you. They should already be attracted to the idea of the business. They may not know they're going to enroll, but you should have planted the seeds before they ever come to you. You have an uphill battle if all you've done is sell the challenge pack. If all you've done is sell Shakeology and the fitness program, and you haven't shared the lifestyle of a coach, the benefits of coaching all along the way, then you have an uphill battle to talk to them about coaching all of a sudden when you have a challenge pack. Now, if you do, they might be interested in the discount, but selling the coaching lifestyle, getting people to want to become a coach, really needs to be over time. It needs to be something they see trickle out over time in your life. You're telling your story on Facebook. You're showing them your lifestyle every single day. It can be subtle. It doesn't have to be a big, I heart Beachbody picture and some sentences about, I love coaching. And you know what? When you do that, nobody's even going to read it. Because the second they see the I heart Beachbody coaching, they keep scrolling. Because so many people are haters. They don't want to read it. They don't want to read it. So you've got to be kind of slick about it. And the way that I would say to do that is to start with something that doesn't scream Beachbody. Start with something like, I can remember a time when I was so worried that I would have to work until 7 p.m. and miss all kinds of activities for my kids. My heart was broken at the thought of not seeing their after-school performances. But I'm so grateful that I was able to see my Ella as a lawyer, that's an actual story, in her school performance today. And I didn't even have to worry about going to work. I love my coaching life. See how I kind of tied coaching in at the end? I twisted it in at the end. It doesn't have to scream Beachbody in the beginning. And another thing it doesn't have to do is it doesn't have to be, a thesis. Like, you need to do this in spurts where people are actually going to read it. If it's a book, people aren't going to read it. If it's a paragraph that's compelling and emotional and you're connecting with people, because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. At the end of the day, you're relating to people. So, a lot of people will say, I'm not making the big bucks. I don't know how to sell this business. I'm not making that much money yet. And what I say to that is, one of the most powerful things that I have shared as a coach, and one of the most powerful recruiting tools that I have used as a coach has been, I used to go to Target and my husband would call me about 30 minutes later and say, what did you spend $82.36 at Target on? And I would say, diapers and Lysol and toilet paper. Like, what exactly, what's the problem? It's basics for the house. So I don't get those calls anymore. I don't get those calls anymore because I'm bringing money, and he knows better than to question and cross-examine me on every purchase I made at Target. And when I share that with moms, that I don't get the Target accountability calls anymore, that is so powerful for so many women. I did not know how many women got those same Target accountability calls until I shared it. No, it's not 6 figures. No, it's not a trip to Bora Bora. But those are the things that you need to be sharing that are relatable. People connect on those things. Date nights. So many people are stuck in the house. Trips. Even if it's just 2 hours away. Things like that. You've covered your car payment. Those are things that stress people out. Those are the things that you share. So another thing that you want to do to project some confidence is make sure you're recognizing your downline. A lot of people say, well, my downline's not doing anything. They're just, sitting around. They're not selling anything. Even if they sell a sampler pack, You could turn that into a post. You could say, hey, my new coach, Kara, I'm so proud of her for introducing, superfoods that are going to change somebody's life. And, my team is doing big things. It's a sampler pack. No, we all know it's not big money, but it could be the beginning of somebody's health change. So you can always frame it differently because it's not all about money. And that first step is a big deal. So if you only have a couple of coaches and you need to be creative about it, just know that, you can take those little things and make them sound more powerful. Another thing you could do is just talk about their own health and fitness journey. Your new coaches, if they're losing weight, if they're, drinking Shakeology, if their cholesterol goes down, talk about those things. Those are accomplishments, and they are definitely related to coaching, because let me tell you, if you tag them in that post, then their friends are going to say, what is it that you're doing? So if they're not posting, that's going to help them to attract business. If they're not, and that might give them the bug to start posting themselves because they realize they have the support of friends and family. So definitely be tagging them in their own health and fitness journey as well. When I say share the coaching lifestyle, I like to use an analogy. I'm hopping a little all over the place because I'm getting a little off track, but hopefully you guys are getting some decent tips out of this. But when I talk about selling the coaching lifestyle, a lot of times I'll tell people to think about when you go to a job interview. So you go to a job interview and you go home and you talk to your husband or your roommate or your mom or whoever. What are the things that you talk about to them about the job? You probably talk about the pay. You talk about the schedule. You talk about your coworkers. You talk about if there's any trips that you get to go on for free. You talk about the benefits, that kind of thing. Those are the exact same things, the things that would attract you in a job interview. Those are the exact same things that you need to be communicating on a regular basis on Facebook to attract business builders. So make a list of the things that excite you when you go to a job interview. What would make you go home and say, I have to get this job. If I don't get this job, I'm going to cry. Make a list of those things and make sure you're touching on all of those things, because you're going to speak to different people when you discuss different points of those. So definitely, keep discussing all of those things. One thing that I do a lot of, I always want to project confidence. I always want people to think, she's got it together when it comes to the business. But one thing that I do think is important is likability. I mean, you don't want to be so confident and so, business that nobody wants to talk to you. So you can kind of soften that a little bit just by being, it's okay to not take yourself so seriously in all areas of your life. Here's an example. So I would never show weakness when it comes to the business side. I always want people to think that I'm a successful coach, that I've done really well, that I could help them build a business that would provide income for their families. But I can laugh at myself in other ways. Like, for example, the other day, I had my gas pump in the car and I drove off with the gas pump in the tank. I knew immediately when I did that, I'm like, that's a Facebook post. I'm an idiot. Those are the things, like, those just make you likable and real and normal. And it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. The more open and real you are, the more people connect with you. They're like, man, I could totally see myself doing that. Or, wow, she's even dumber than I am, or like whatever, But the point is, they connect with you. They feel like you're down to earth. Those are all good things. But when it comes to the business, you have to project confidence and competence. So don't show a lot of weakness with that. Another way to soften that, business mentality, confidence and competence is to show credit where it's due. So make sure you're giving credit. I can't believe where my business is after just 2 years. I'm writing a post in my head. I'm just blown away by all of the growth. I didn't expect this at all. And I'm eternally grateful to the team because I couldn't have done it without them. Or, wow, I can't believe how my team has changed my life, or, stuff like that. But the point is, give credit where it's due. Talk about your team and all the awesome ways that they've helped your business, and make sure that you, don't just take all the credit for yourself. The last thing I want to mention when it comes to recruiting, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it really is make sure your relationships are healthy with your downline and with your family and your friends. Because one thing that I notice is people can tell, on Facebook after a while when they read the comments under your stuff or they read the post on your page, if they see something and somebody says, wow, you've been such an awesome coach and you've helped me so many times and I just appreciate you. People are watching more than you think they're watching. And if they see those positive comments and you guys build each other up, you're a team and that's what it's about. Like you build your upline up, you build your downline up both ways. And the more you do that and the more positive energy you have going both directions, you're going to lift each other up as a team. And, go on your upline's page and when they've made you feel special or they've helped you or they've given a call, talk about those things because people are watching and they want a mentor that takes the time to help. And so if you have a mentor like that, let me tell you, you'd be grateful because so many coaches are out there with inactive coaches. Like a ton of coaches have inactive coaches and it's not an excuse. And, you can still, do wonderful, amazing things. We have a lot of top coaches who have inactive sponsors. But if you have an active sponsor, give them credit, like build them up in the same way that they build you up because it's going to help you both. It's going to help both ways. So make sure your relationships are healthy with your team, with your upline, with your downline, with your friends and your family. That's going to help with your recruiting as well. That's what I've got right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, if they have any questions.
I don't mind at all.
I see one here. We've got, how would you suggest we sell the coaching lifestyle for those of us who just started and don't have a lot to share? We don't have great income, family time, dream job. I'm loving it, but I work it around my full-time job and haven't earned much money. I want to be genuine and not salesy and feel like I don't have enough to share.
Yeah. Okay. So when I first started, I was home with my kids, but, so I was able to share some of the little things, like even $50 or $100 was a difference. So when you do make those little checks, maybe they're just $50 or $100 and maybe they pay for date night, frame it into a post, like start to think about, it may all go into the same account and you may not say, oh, well, this $50 covered this, but start to think about things that it did cover, start to translate those smaller paychecks into what did that cover and make it into a post. So even though the money kind of all goes into the same pot, you need to be thinking about the things that it does cover in the end and make posts about it, whether that's date night, whether that's, baby gap clothes for your kid or, a daycare bill or whatever it is. Be thinking about those dollars in terms of, actual expenses that they're covering. Also, before I really made any money with this, I can remember talking about Christina Delgado. She is a partner at a law firm in Miami. And I remember, and I have a lot of friends in the legal world, so it was a big deal for me to post this, but I remember her saying, I stopped working as a partner at a law firm when it didn't make financial sense for me to continue because of Beachbody. She was making so much more with Beachbody that it just didn't make sense to be working 50, 60 hours a week at a law office. So before I was making the big bucks, I used her story left and right. So, and I'm not making the big bucks like some people do. I'm making good money. I mean, better than I ever did as a lawyer, I'll tell you that. But when I started, I wasn't, and that was just 2 years ago. And I remember using other people's stories and telling people, you know what, like I know this person personally, like I know it's real, I've talked to her, I know her, and her story's legit. And I believe it and I'm going to do it myself. And when you have that kind of confidence in, okay, this is what I'm doing, I know it's real, and you're somebody that people trust, building that trust and talking about sharing other people's experiences can be just as powerful. Like, this is why I'm doing it. I've heard these stories. And, you know, like, it's not why I became a coach. It's why I became serious about coaching. And that's okay. Like, it's a business. It is okay. You know, so many people are timid and shy, and they're all about sharing the health and the fitness. They get all shy, and especially women, and I hate to say that, but especially women get timid and shy when it comes to the business side. We all pay the bills the same way. You don't have to act like Mother Teresa, you know, like, it's okay if you need some money for your family, and it's okay to talk to people about the financial side. I promise you this, just as many people need money for their families as they need to lose 15 or 20 pounds. So be sharing those success stories. Like, there's some really powerful ones on YouTube. You know, find a couple that speak to you and send them in private messages and say, just look at this. Like, look at what this business has done for this person. And this is what's going to happen to me. And it can happen to you too. And when you share it like that, you know, it's compelling. It doesn't have to be your story. It can be your story unfolding and what's inspiring you at the time.
Totally agree. Okay, so when there is an unhealthy relationship involved between you and a personally sponsored coach, what would be the best way to handle it?
Block them on Facebook. I'm just kidding. No. No. You know, that is such a broad question, and there's just so many different scenarios. Like, I would say in general, I mean, that's a really hard question to answer, but in general, I would say, you know, be the bigger person. And that has been, leadership is lonely, and being a leader is lonely. And I've learned that. I've really learned that. One thing that has been really difficult for me as I've grown a team is, you know, I went from, when my team was smaller, thinking I have all these best friends and everybody loves me and I'm so popular with this group of women, and that's never happened to me before. And then now it's gotten kind of complicated, and there's people that don't love me that much. And, you know, it's real life, and it's hard, and leadership is hard, and you're not trying to be everybody's BFF. What you're trying to do is be a mentor, be someone they can come to for business, be someone they can trust. You definitely want to build trust. You don't want to be taking their customers and turn them into your coaches, or, you know, you got to have ethics in place, and you've got to be on the up and up, and just let them know that they can trust you. And if you have personal differences, set them aside and say, this is a business. This is not a sorority. I don't have to be best friends with everybody, but I have to be a leader that people trust and respect. And that's what I would focus on is, you know, don't bash them behind their backs. Don't talk to other coaches about them. Be the bigger person, because a leader doesn't do that. A leader doesn't, you know, get into the drama. They don't talk about other people behind their backs. They're the bigger person. And I think over time, when you do that, a lot of the people that may have wanted to pick fights, or maybe they were just not feeling good about themselves at the time, because maybe their business wasn't going so well, they'll come around and they'll see that you were a consistent leader that was there for them in a mature way. And sooner or later, the relationship should get more positive if they're sane.
Then there's always the block button if not.
Sure, exactly, yes.
I will say she's right. Leadership is lonely. And the cool thing is we have the leadership retreat, and then now the new leader retreat, where it's not so lonely. You actually get to connect with people who are, it's not always a bad situation, but we do get to connect and, you know, learn from each other who really get it, who've gone through that big team thing, right?
Yeah. So, it's grown. Like, when I say it's lonely, but I've never grown more as a person.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, I've learned so much, and I've stretched so much, even so much more than I ever did as a lawyer, in a good way, in a positive way. And so it's it's been a ride.
It's worth it. I would say it's definitely.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that's another thing. I know in our call you talked about, you had lived the corporate life. I worked so many hours. And when I hear coaches, they're like, I'm only making $600-700 a week. I want to be like, do you have any idea how many hours you'd have to work in a lot of professions to make that kind of money? I know when I first started as a lawyer, I was, $100,000 in debt, and I went to a very affordable law school. And I started at $65,000 a year, and I was working 60 hours at least a week. And when I wasn't working, I was stressed about work. And I was stressed about the fact that my partners at my law firm wanted me to come in. The potential of what we earn with this business is so worth it. It's such an amazing blessing. Anybody, I don't understand why everybody isn't signed. I mean, I'm glad everybody isn't signed up, but I don't understand it. It's such a crazy opportunity.
I'm right there with you. Okay, so next question. What's your favorite personal development, audio or book?
I like anything John Maxwell. He's got so much on leadership, and I feel like at this stage of my business especially, I really need that. I need the help with leadership tips. And so that he's definitely probably been the laws of leadership. I listen to the audio more than I read the book. So I get the little Amazon Audible thing, and I listen to it in my car because I cannot sit still and read a book at home. So I do the audio, but I think that's just as good. Another thing was Kim Carver told me when we were talking on the phone once, he said, and I thought this was so helpful. He said, you don't have to think of personal development as a book. It could be just setting time aside, listening to music by yourself. It could be meditation. It could be prayer, whatever suits you. But just setting that time aside for yourself to clear your mind and your thinking and focus on you. So when that happened, when he said that, I felt so much less pressure to constantly be reading a book. So I listen to my audio, and sometimes I just take the time to take a walk by myself and listen to music and really think about life and my goals. And, I think that there's all different kinds of ways you can do personal development.
Okay. All right. How do you find the best way to invite to a challenge group, since a lot of your coaches come from those? Private message, a post, a Facebook event?
I think a combination. I mean, I don't really do any just one. I do all of them. I mean, I usually do an event every month. Usually, this month I haven't yet. I need to. But usually I do an event, and that usually is helpful. I usually do a post on my page. I usually boost that post. Pay maybe $10, $20 and boost it so more people see it. I just started with Instagram, so I haven't done a challenge group on Instagram yet. And then, of course, I post on my personal page. I use my personal page a little bit more than I use my page. So I use my page more for boosting things than I do anything else.
Okay. And do you do you do you do an event, you do posts, and then you bring them in through attraction, or do you actually go out and invite as well?
I used to do a lot more one-on-one messages than I do now. Now I'm more follow up. So if somebody's expressed interest in the past and haven't actually sealed the deal, I'll write them a message and let them know what's happening in the future. But in the beginning, I did a lot of messages and got a lot of rejections. Everybody tells you, if you haven't heard no, you haven't been successful. I heard no, I don't know how many times, when I was writing the most random people that I had not seen since 1982. Well, maybe not 82, but maybe 89. But I was writing all kinds of random people, and lots of people were saying no, and that's just part of the game. So I've done all of it, everything. I've also stalked random garage sale sites and written challenge groups. And I haven't done that in a long time. But when I got started, I was a hustler. And one of the guys on our team, he'll say, and I love this quote, he says, you got to hustle like you're paying the light bill. And I love that quote. You got to hustle like you're paying the light bill. And, you know, when I first started, that's what I did. I was intense, and I was getting on all these like crazy Facebook garage sale sites. I'm pretty sure now I get kicked off in about 2 seconds, because I'm sure a million other coaches have done the same thing. But at the time I was doing it, I was trying to get on all kinds of stuff. I went on Weight Watchers. I mean, this is a little embarrassing, but it's the truth. And I actually joined Weight Watchers just so I could have things to talk about.
That's awesome.
Yes. And I actually got a coach from it before I canceled my Weight Watchers subscription. I joined all kinds of Weight Watchers Facebook groups because, you know, Shakeology is only 2 points. So it's actually like a good fit, you know, and I was like, I'm going to get in these Weight Watchers groups. I'm going to meet people, and it worked. It actually works. So be creative. You never know what's going to work.
So true. Okay. How do you get your coaches started? Do you do a getting started right with every single one?
I do. I have a recorded call for the online office because it's so boring to go over that call. Like, I'll go insane if I have to do that every single time. But what I do is I'll do like, it's like a 20-minute online office recording. And then after that, I have like a goals call, like dig deeper, talk about your why, talk about your goals, your immediate, your long-term goals, and just get to know the coach on a more personal level. That call is so important. I mean, people have to feel like you care about them one-on-one, and that you'll take the time to get to know them, I think.
I would say my question to you is, if you can get your hands on them and get a time with them, right? Like, some of them are like,
oh, sure. Yeah, no, I definitely have some that are procrastinators. And I mean, you can't make somebody want it, you know, like they have to want it. I have a coach, like a new coach today that I call with, and she's hunted me down. Like, I've been busy a couple of days and she has wanted a call. I have another coach who I love dearly. We used to work together, and she's been a coach for a month, and it's just like, I can't get her on a call. So people have to want it themselves, and, you know, I can't force it and you can't force it, but just being available for that call, I think, is really important.
okay, so how do you be a good leader to your downline coaches when you're still new and learning yourself?
Plug them into your team trainings, your team open houses, all those things that your team offers. Just make sure that they know the structure of what's available to them with your upline. That's really, and you join those upline things and you pay attention so that you can learn and ultimately host your own.
Awesome. What is your most impactful personal development leadership? I think you already said John C. Maxwell. Leadership, personal development.
Yeah.
John C. Maxwell. And then I think, what is the best way to persuade someone who signed up as a coach for the discount to become a business builder? Would you just elaborate on the coaching lifestyle? Let me ask you this before you answer that. Did you sign up for the Shakeology discount? And had Amy not gotten you on the phone? Or
no, not really. She did an online office call, but I had no idea of the business. I really didn't have any clue until I joined the Diamond Group and I started reading posts. And really, I did make some pretty good sales and retail commission my first month. So I did have those to talk about pretty early on. I'm going to go back to what I said before, which was, before they're ever a discount coach, it's easiest to have the work already done, to have already like done the footwork and convince them that the coaching lifestyle is amazing. If you're convincing them after the fact, it's more difficult. If they come to you with an open mindset because they've seen you talk about it all along, you're more likely to get a coach out of it. So where does that leave you when you already have discount coaches and you want to switch them over? It's the same thing. Just, you don't have to private message them and say, this is an amazing lifestyle and let me bullet point why. You start sharing it, you know, share the income, share whatever, you know, your coach's income, your upline, whoever, talk about it, and get them interested with the trips. You guys don't think events are important, but they're so important. And especially for those yellow personalities out there, they start to see, you know, Summit and Super Saturday and the cruise or whatever it is, and they start to think, this is really fun. I want to do this. There's so many bored stay-at-home moms out there that looks exciting. and fun. And so those are the things that you're sharing all along that attract people. And so it doesn't need to be in this long, dramatic email. It's more just sharing all the time, sharing it, writing your story in a creative way that draws people in and makes them think, gosh, you know what? This is awesome. Like, how does she get to do this? Or how, like your coach, Lindsay, how did she put a pool in her backyard? Or for me, I'm taking my family to Costa Rica in August. Those are the things people want to do. And that's not feasible for most American families right now. And so to talk about those things all along, and whether they're big or small, whether it's a date night or whether it's your Target bill or whether it's, a new TV, I don't know, whatever it is, you just talk about it, frame it, turn it into a post, and people will be more attracted to the business if you're consistently sharing all along your relationships with your coaches, how that's helped you, how your team is positive and low drama. That's attracted to a lot of women who, maybe they need some friendships in their life. I would say having a sponsor that appreciates you, that sends you gifts. Those are things you want to talk about and share, because a lot of people have bosses that quite frankly suck. And so having a sponsor that appreciates you and not having a true boss, being able to call the shots yourself, but being rewarded for your work, gosh, that is really appealing to a lot of people. So it's sharing those things over time.
Yeah, like I would add, as we go into Nashville next week, Beachbody, if this is your first trip, they will do little things that will just blow your mind, that are so worth sharing. And it's so small, but yet people are going to be like, I don't know what they're doing, but I want in. They're going to see you in your office in Nashville, right? My office view is, right, I'm doing this. And I was thinking about the elite party and being at the Hall of Fame. And I keep hearing people say how amazing this Hall of Fame is. And I'm like, this is going to be really cool to take photos and share on social media. I don't know what is in this Hall of Fame, but everybody has been talking about going to this Hall of Fame that I know that knows Nashville and how amazing it is. And I'm like, I better make sure I've got photos and I attend that event, I make sure I'm there and get into the core early, because we get to shop and we get to get our hands on the new stuff. And last year I did a video in the core and I posted it to the team, and I don't remember if I posted it publicly, and I was like, this is what I'm doing right now. And everyone was really excited by that. It's very simple things that make people be like, how do I get in? What are you doing? Or the Bahamas. I went to the Bahamas in 2012. We went to Atlantis, and we got to work out with Shaun T. And when you guys get to work out next week with the trainers, post photos, people are going to be like, you're with him live, all that good stuff. This is cool. I love it. Any other questions, guys? I hope this was helpful. This was certainly helpful. Me, I got 2 pages of notes. I'm like, this was awesome.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. And you guys, she is Katie. She's a Katie McCarthy Green on Facebook. Go click follow. She may or may not be out of friends right now, or may want some new prospect friends. So just click follow and watch how Katie posts. I know Katie do you live on the ocean, or do you live on
Well, I live about 5 minutes. I live in Wilmington, actually in Hampstead, near Topsail Beach, North Carolina.
You've got a view.
Yes, I'm on the marsh. I'm on the marsh. So we've got water, like brackish water behind us with alligators in it. Isn't that lovely?
You're like, it's so pretty.
It is pretty. I love where we live. Although I wouldn't get in the water right now. We've had a lot of shark attacks.
Well, it looks like there's shark attacks. Oh
yeah. Awesome. If you haven't seen it, Google North Carolina and shark attacks.
Oh, lovely. Well,
there's been a little spree. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.